Inside the stories that affect you. This is Inside KELOLAND.
Hey, thanks for having us in. Coming up on this week's Inside KELOLAND, the Levitt at the Falls announced the lineup for its first summer of concerts. What you can look forward to once the performances start in less than 3 weeks. Plus, we're talking with the general manager of the Denny Sanford Premier Center after he's been on the job for a few months now and what he sees for the future of the facility. Then we'll hear from the Washington Pavilion as staff members prepare to celebrate the 20th anniversary, how you can help them celebrate next weekend. And finally, we're taking you to Blue Mound State Park and why staff there are hoping to welcome even more visitors this summer. First tonight, we are less than 3 weeks away from the first concert at the Levitt at the Falls in downtown Sioux Falls. Earlier this month, the nonprofit announced all 30 acts that will perform this summer. KELOLAND's Perry Groten checks out the lineup.
Grammy-nominated blues singer Ruthie Foster will be the opening act of Levitt at the Falls when she performs on Friday, June 14th.
She is an African-American woman who is also an Air Force vet, and she is a crazy, wonderful blues singer. Writes her own music, plays guitar, and we'll have her with her whole band.
A third of all the free Levitt concerts will feature local talent, from Spoon Cat, Burlap Wolf King, Brule, to Cory and the Fireflies. The Levitt Shell will have a distinctive South Dakota sound this summer.
It's important that we bring artists from all over the world to really represent all the different nationalities and cultures we have, but our community is so rich in that already, and we've got so many talented artists. It just made sense to include them and lift them up and really share what they do with the rest of the world.
But it's not just about the music. Each Levitt concert will also highlight a local nonprofit. For instance, the June 20th concert will showcase NAMI Sioux Falls.
It's awesome because music relates to everyone, and that works with us because mental health relates with everyone. So I'm really thrilled about that.
The goal is to present concerts that appeal to all musical tastes while bringing the community together in a sonic celebration of summer.
To check out the full list of Levitt performers, you can go to this story at KELOLAND.com. And joining us now is Nancy Halverson, the CEO of Levitt at the Falls. Oh, you're busy, so thanks for being on with us.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
I really like that idea of taking global acts, but also recognizing that we have artists right here in our community that need a platform.
Yes.
Why was that so important?
Yeah. You know, there's just so much talent here, and the artistry out of a community reflects the community and who we are, and that's really the mission of the Levitt, is to build community. So it just made a lot of sense.
Well, of the 30 acts, are there any that you're most looking forward to?
It's like your children, right? You're not supposed to have favorites. I am really looking forward to our opening night for lots of reasons, obviously. But the artist Ruthie Foster, who will be with us, is just dynamite. And I just love her music, love what she does, love what she represents, her own personal story. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, the variety of musical acts, I think, is pretty impressive because, like you said, you want something for everyone. So, I mean, how do you get all of these different groups under one roof to make sure that, you know, the audience is catered to in that way?
Yeah, we really talked to a lot of people in the community about what they wanted to see and decided to break it up into genres. So we've got like an Americana genre, we've got jazz, we've got rock and roll, we've got world music. We thought that way we can kind of give people what they want, but also kind of suggest that they try something they hadn't tried before, right? That's the whole thing, is getting out of your comfort zone, coming to the green, meeting your neighbors that you might not even know, and just celebrating who we are as a community. Yeah,
it seems, I mean, this community is pretty ripe for that. People, I think, are really hungry for more places where they can enjoy talent and a good show.
Well, and the best part is the Levitt's free.
Yes.
You know?
We like that.
We like that a lot. One of the things about Sioux Falls is that there is so much to do here. But we wanted to create a venue where, whether you're coming to town as somebody working on the line or you're the CEO, you can bring your family to the Levitt, have a great night, enjoy the beautiful outdoors, and just celebrate who we are.
Can you believe that we're just 3 weeks away?
No, I can't. You know, the board first got together on this in 2011.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I've only been working on it since August, but this has been just a huge effort.
2011 is when I got to Kelo, so
there you go.
I've been waiting.
You've been waiting this whole time.
Yeah, this has been years in the making. So I mean, behind the scenes, you know, what has the work been like for everyone to make this into a reality?
You know, it's a three-legged stool. Whenever a Levitt comes into a community, there's the Levitt National Foundation that brings some of the funding, and then the City Parks and Rec has to become engaged, and the City Parks and Rec will actually still own the Levitt venue. And then, of course, there's the private 501c3, Friends of Levitt. So bringing those three parts together to raise the funds was the first big part. And now, moving forward, we'll have to continue to raise funds to keep the music free.
Yeah, it's a lot of moving parts. It doesn't just happen.
It is.
You know, we live in quite a divisive time. You know, it seems like everyone is disagreeing about something, but this is one thing that hopefully will bring people together. Bring families together, friends together. What is your hope when that happens?
That's exactly it. I mean, it is my hope that the Levitt can be that place where everybody's equal. You know, you can come in, bring your blanket, sit down, have a picnic with your family, meet the person sitting next to you, and get to really appreciate all the diversity that's in our community. You know, there's 137 languages spoken now in our community. And for us, we're about inclusivity, about bringing people together in this shared location where they can enjoy the night.
And there is also another thing that maybe people don't think about, the economic impact of something like this. What is that?
You know, that's actually a big part of the mission of the Levitt. When they come to a community, they look for a piece of property that's underused, and Falls Park West was definitely that.
Right.
You know, it was a brownfield, but by bringing this in, what it does is it drives more businesses in the community. You know, Chris Torkelson is on our board and a good buddy. He's with Lloyd Company, and he says, you know, the Cascades would not be built down there if it hadn't been for the Levitt. You know, we know that Sioux Steel is moving. That may not have happened without this. The Jones Building and all the great, you know, organizations that are in there. There's so many things that are growing, and we know that the economic impact of the Levitt will be about $5 million a year to our local community, which is remarkable considering it only costs $4.8 million to build. So every year going forward, we'll pay it forward and continue to help build the community.
Oh, wonderful. And yeah, before we go, I know we're just getting started, but do we have any hints for next year? Are we thinking about the lineup
We
yet?
are, believe it or not. Yes, we're already getting calls. The beautiful thing is now that our staff has been added a little bit, we're building relationships. So we're talking to other venues in Omaha and Minneapolis and talking about routing for some bands to come next year.
Well, very nice. And we have just a few seconds left, but we have these brochures. People can pick them up and learn more.
We're kind of spreading them out all over town. One of the most important parts in here is a parking map to help people find their way to some free parking.
All right. Thank you so much, Nancy.
Thank you.
And we are just getting started with Inside KELOLAND. Coming up after the break, we're talking with the general manager of the Denny Sanford Premier Center and what's in store for the facility as it celebrates its 5th anniversary. Welcome back to Inside KELOLAND. It has been another busy year for the Denny Sanford Premier Center. Most recently, the facility hosted Cher and Kenny Chesney. Some other big names coming soon include Miranda Lambert, Carrie Underwood, and Rob Zombie, and Marilyn Manson. Joining us now is Mike Cruson, the general manager of the Premier Center. Hey, thanks so much for being on with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and you just started, what, a few months ago as general manager?
Beginning of March.
Okay, so how's everything going?
Everything's been great. The building's been very busy, and the staff has performed very well, and tickets are selling, so this is great.
Yeah, it's. I'm sure the couple of months have flown by already.
It has. It's hard to believe it's been almost 3 months.
And yeah, we're coming off of a couple of big shows. Cher, Kenny Chesney, how did those two go?
Fantastic. Pretty much sold out. Great crowds, over 10,000 per. And the building performed very well. So very happy for the response for the community to buy a lot of tickets and have a good time.
Yeah, two different crowds, I imagine.
A little bit different demographics, but it was good. And that's what we want. We want variety.
Yeah, and so I mean, in the time that the Premier Center has been here, people in this area have gotten used to having concerts and top tier entertainment right, you know, in our backyard. So, what other shows or concerts are you hoping to bring? What can we expect in the future?
Well, we've got a wide variety of some family shows, some Christmas shows that are on the books that haven't quite been announced yet. But you know, we've got some big country concerts with Carrie Underwood and Miranda Lambert coming in October. So the hits just keep on coming for us. Our staff's working very hard to procure top line entertainment for the community.
So we could be having some more announcements coming soon then?
We could certainly have some announcements coming soon.
So how, I mean, what is it like to try to book acts that are different. You know, we have country acts, rock acts, nostalgic acts. Do you try to keep a wide variety like that?
Absolutely. We want to try to cover every angle of the demographics. You know, for kids shows as well as to, you know, classic rock, country, and some alternative stuff. We kind of look at what's popular in the market, so we talk to the radio stations a lot, see what's playing, what's, you know, as it relates to when shows are potentially going to come in.
And so, how is Sioux Falls compared to other big cities that have entertainment venues?
Well, as far as our size city compared to other similar size cities, you know, we outperform a lot of them because, again, the community has really supported with ticket sales and just overall just great community support, and that keeps the good shows keep on coming, and we'll continue to do so.
So when you started, did you come with a vision that you have for this venue? What would you like to see it do in the future?
Well, the venue performed at a high level before, so I want to keep it on those tracks. But there's always things that you want to put your finger, your fingerprints on. Little changes here and there. Just the way the staff performs, or just different things that you add around the building. And I've been fortunate to say that we've started those processes. Yeah. So keep it fresh, keep it vibrant.
Well, and we are approaching 5 years of this venue existing.
Yes.
And I know that when it was built, there is possibility for it to grow, room to grow. Are there any plans for expanding anytime in the near future?
As far as the Premier Center is concerned, probably not, but there's a campus study task force that's out right now as it relates to the convention center and some other areas of the campus. So we're going to wait to see what those decisions are made, but there's always room for growth in that area.
Yeah, and you mentioned the campus, the convention center, arena, Canary Stadium. You know, how is that all going, that study, and what do you hope to learn from all that?
Well, you know, I was able to give some input with a fresh set of eyes a month or so ago. We've got another meeting coming up, and it's just, again, it's about information. It's about what areas that we can grow in, what new business that we can attract if we have different amenities to offer. And so it's kind of just an informational for that group, and then hopefully, again, they'll make a decision or a recommendation back to the city government and just kind of see where we go. But I think talking to the Sports Authority people, the CVB, we're all on the same page basically on what we like to see to basically grow the campus, but also, you know, increase more business, you know, to Sioux Falls as far as, you know, hotels and restaurants and things like that, just to add to the economic impact of the community.
Well, thank you very much for being on with us. This conversation went by very fast.
It did go. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to Inside KELOLAND. The Denny Sanford Premier Center isn't the only entertainment facility in Sioux Falls celebrating a milestone anniversary. This year marks 20 years for the Washington Pavilion in downtown. Joining us now are President and CEO Darren Smith and Jim Mathis, the Treasurer for the Washington Pavilion Board of Trustees. Can you believe it? 20 years.
It is hard to believe. It's been 20 years, 20 great years.
It's been old enough to vote for a couple of years now. And
yes, that's right. Good point. Good way to look at it. Speaking of votes, started with a very close vote years ago.
So there is a big celebration planned to observe this. Tell us about the big party.
Well, we really have an entire month of activities, special activities, but it does kick off on Saturday, June 1. We want to make sure the entire public knows that they are invited down. Completely free event throughout the day and night. We're going to start during the day, 10 a.m. Brady in the morning. The whole day is going to be really a very family-friendly festival atmosphere. All kinds of things for kids and young families, parents, grandparents, kids, grandkids, face painting, balloon twisting, inflatables, all kinds of artsy stuff going on. It's just going to be great. And then we're going to transition around 5 or 5:30 in the evening to live events, live concerts inside the building. We're going to feature the Good Road Band, OK Parade, and Spoon Cat. So a whole night of entertainment, again, completely free to the community. Also a little bit of entertainment during the afternoon. I do want to mention the Danger Committee coming out of the Twin Cities. They were featured on America's Got Talent knife throwing, juggling, stuff you don't see around here all the time. It's going to be a great day.
Yeah, well, congratulations. I remember when I started here at Kelo and when I went to SDSU, the pavilion had always just been around. It's been a thing, and so I can't remember life without it, but it started in 1999.
That's right.
A lot has changed. Tell us about some of those early days and how it's evolved.
Yeah, well, I've lived in Sioux Falls a little over 20 years myself, but the very first year that I served on the city council was the first year the Washington Pavilion was open, believe it or not. And so I really have been able to see the evolution of the pavilion. And you know, like any organization, like any small business, there's ebbs and flows, there's ups and downs, and it takes a while to find your footing. And you know, the pavilion has meant so much to this community and to the art scene downtown, but we're really thriving now. We've never been in a better position programmatically, financially, so we're hitting on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, and there are some photos of those days. It's interesting to see how far it's come, just even like the construction of the interior, kind of retooling that building.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so when you think about, so Jim, when you think about, you know, we have the Premier Center, we have the Levitt at the Falls, all sorts of arts and entertainment things, would you say that we can maybe trace everything back to the pavilion?
I certainly think so. You know, when you look at what was going on in the arts in this community, you know, when I came to town 30 years ago, we had the community playhouse, but there just wasn't a whole lot going on with the arts, and that really changed the day that the Washington Pavilion opened, and it gave us a place for the visual arts, it gave us a wonderful science center for the kids, and this just remarkable performance venue, and that really kind of helped be a catalyst to get things going. And now, you know, Sculpture Walk has been here 16 years, so that kind of followed on the heels of the Washington Pavilion, and you know, now we have the Levitt and the Arc of Dreams and all of these wonderful arts things that have kind of all come together in that last 20 years. It's been a remarkable transformation.
Yeah, and downtown has become such a destination place. It never used to be, from what I've heard.
That's exactly right. I mean, 30 years ago, you didn't really want to come downtown after dark, and now on a Friday night, you know, everybody wants to be in one of those cool little places down on Phillips Avenue, you know, having dinner or drinks. That's great.
And we have time for one more question. So over the years, we've seen how the pavilion and maybe the interest in arts in downtown have fueled more performances, bigger performances. So what does the future hold for the pavilion?
Well, Brady, to touch on some of the growth we've seen just in the last few years, less than 10 years ago, we had barely 1,000 annual subscribers to our Performing Arts Series. We now have well over 3,000.
Wow.
We've just exploded in that area. We think that growth is going to continue. The shows that we're getting, because the number of subscribers has gone up so much, the number of shows are bigger, we're selling more tickets, the shows are better. On the museum side, just a few short years ago, we had about 60,000 people going through the Visual Arts Center and Science Center on an annual basis. We're going to go over 100,000 this year for the first time ever. All-time record for the pavilion. Our education program is completely full. All of our preschool spots, our summer camps and classes. So we just want to keep this incredible momentum going. We think we're on the right track. We have tremendous community support, a great board, Jim and others, you know, from the community on there. So we just want to keep things going. We really do want to be the premier destination in the arts and sciences for the region.
All right. Well, thank you both very much. I appreciate having you on here.
Thank you, Brady.
And still to come on Inside KELOLAND.
In 2014, we did see a 50% decrease in campers here at the park. So we are hoping to go ahead and get those campers back, get them back here to see our bison.
There's a big improvement for Blue Mountain State Park in Laverne, Minnesota. How the park is hoping to bring in more visitors after the break. Tomorrow is Memorial Day, a day to honor those who have died while protecting our country. Well, cities across the country will hold memorial services to remember the men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice. Here in Sioux Falls, Bishop Paul Swain will hold a Memorial Day Mass at 8:30 a.m. at St. Michael Catholic Cathedral. There will also be a wreath-laying ceremony at Hills of Rest Cemetery in Sioux Falls starting at 11 a.m. This weekend also marks the start of the summer vacation season, meaning state parks across the country will be packed with hikers and campers. One KELOLAND campground is especially excited for the summer because it finally has clean water again. On tonight's Eye on KELOLAND, Sarah McDonald takes you to Blue Mound State Park and speaks with park officials and campers.
Ed Severson and his wife Barb are enjoying a walk around the campground at Blue Mound State Park this morning with their dogs Belle and Buster.
We kind of live for camping. We have taken in a lot of the state parks in Minnesota. We just love the state parks, and it's an opportunity to bring our dogs with us, which is my wife's passion, and they travel really well, and we just enjoy camping.
The Minnesota State Park just north of Laverne has plenty to offer its guests, from camping to biking and hiking trails to even a bison herd.
Our herds are special because they do not have cattle genetics in them to the point that we can test. So that makes them part of only 1% of bison in the United States that don't have that cattle genetics.
That's not all. The park now has water that's safe for drinking, cooking, and showering after years without.
Early 2019, we tested the water in April of 2019, and that's when we found out that we were safe to go.
Water was first affected in the park back in 2014 when E. coli was found in the park's well. A second well was dug, but also contained E. coli bacteria.
The wells actually tested positive for E. coli, which is an indicator that we had some poor water quality here in the park. We decided to go ahead and shut down those wells since they were not safe for human consumption. Those wells were shut down for about 5 years.
That's something the Seversons noticed on their trip to the park last year.
We weren't really prepared at the time for needing as much of our own water as we should have had, but yeah, it was there was something wrong with the water system here, and so this year we really came prepared. We didn't know if we were going to have water or not, so we brought a lot of our own water, but it's, seems to be fine now.
During the time without water, visitors had to use resources elsewhere.
We asked people to go into the city of Laverne and to check out that aquatic center. They were wonderful enough to allow people to go in and take those showers in town.
Now that the park has been able to connect to a rural water system, they're hoping to see more visitors in the park.
In 2014, we did see a 50% decrease in campers here at the park. So we are hoping to go ahead and get those campers back, get them back here to see our bison. And of course, we do have our brand new prairie and bison tour. So hopefully that'll encourage more people into the park. And of course, now they can go ahead and take a shower after they spent out some time on the prairie.
As for the Seversons, they plan to make trips back to Blue Mound State Park for years to come.
We go to as many campgrounds as we can, and because we always come down here a couple times a year and in this area, so I'm sure we'll be back.
With Eye on KELOLAND, I'm Sarah McDonald.
To learn more about Blue Mound State Park, we've provided a link under this story on KELOLAND.com. Well, that's all the time we have for this week's Inside KELOLAND. You can find out more about today's topics online at KELOLAND.com. Join us every Sunday following the 10 o'clock news right here on KELO TV. Be kind to each other and have a great night.